friends! Welcome back to another video. This is a very exciting day for me. This is the first time that I'm filming a video post-surgery. I think you guys have probably seen my face a lot more recently, but it's been a long time for me. It's been like at least 5.5 weeks, so it's so good to see you guys. I feel like I need to give you like a virtual hug right now. So this, like I said, is my first time filming post-surgery, and I'm just gonna put the disclaimer out there now that it's probably gonna be a hot mess. I apologize to Abby in editing for this because it's gonna be choppy. I am probably gonna be rusty, and there may be like some stuttering or like random loss of train of thought going on, but I made notes, so we should be able to stay on track for this.
Plus I'm here and I'll keep you
Abby's here to the side, so
hi everybody.
Shout out, shout out. But yeah, so hello everyone, welcome back. This is going to be my 1-month recovery recap. I really want to make these videos every month as I progress, just to kind of give you guys an honest look at what recovery is like. I'm going to mention the high points and the low points and just kind of take you along through the last month. So one thing that I do want to mention off the top is that every single week of this recovery so far has been majorly different than the week before. So I've kind of broken it down into week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, just to kind of help my mind to remember like where each thing happened. We'll talk about it at the end of the video too, but one of my newest struggles has been my jaw. Actually, I can only open it a very small amount right now because they cut through all the muscles here. So yeah, that's why if anything is like slurred or I can't move my mouth very wide, that's why. This video is going to pick up from my first day home from the hospital. I do plan on filming a surgery story video, which will talk about everything that happened with the surgery and then in the hospital, so that'll all be its own video that will come. Eventually we can link it up in a card when it does come out. But this video is like my first day home. So one spoiler to that video, I am super grateful that I actually only spent 2.5 days, like I think it was like 54 hours exactly, in the hospital, and then I was able to go home. So I'm super blessed in that, and I really do think it's helped my recovery a lot to be at home versus in the hospital, because if anyone has had a hospital stay, you know you just don't get that much rest in the hospital because you're constantly being like poked and prodded and woken up and all that stuff. So so night 3 post surgery, I was at home, and I was very groggy the first week, very clouded because I was on a lot of medication. Most of those were either 7 or 10 day doses, so I was on medication round the clock, and I think it was every like 12 hours. Some medications were 4 hours, some were 12 hours, but lots of medication. And then I was on, to be exact, 4 medications in the morning and then 7 at night. And so that cycle was about the first week and a half. So I actually don't remember a whole lot from the first week and a half. I couldn't retain thoughts. One thing that my family has let me know since then is that I kept asking questions, and I would ask the same questions over and over and over again because I couldn't remember the answers or the fact that I had asked it before. So memory was not really working at that point. And yeah, so it was a lot of back and forth asking the same things. My family is amazing, and they did not get mad or frustrated that I kept asking the same questions 50 times, because I didn't know I was asking the same question 50 times, but I was. So another thing that I added to that 8 medication list was when I got home, I began taking Miralax and a stool softener pill round the clock as well, to avoid constipation. That's one of the big things when you have a blood patch like I have over my dura one of the things to avoid is constipation because it could accidentally blow the patch if you get constipated. So that was a big thing I started adding, and I've been doing that ever since coming home from the hospital. The first 3 days, my face was swollen, like hugely swollen from the fluid buildup from the surgery. I do have a picture of when I was leaving the hospital. This is what my face looked like. So my eye was really swollen. Thankfully I could still see through it, but basically all of my peripheral vision was gone because of the swelling. And then this whole side of my face was really swollen. So my focus for the first 5 days was to decrease the swelling. Ice has been my best friend basically this entire recovery, but the ice really helped with reducing the swelling and the pain as well. So yeah, I was really swollen, and then I also took my first shower the first full day home from the hospital, which was something interesting that I didn't know until my specific surgery. My surgeon said to wash my incision every day, and to just gently clean it with a baby shampoo, but to make sure that it's staying clean, which I thought was really interesting because I had heard a lot of cases of people saying that they weren't allowed to wash their incision for 2 weeks or something post-op, but a special request from my neurosurgeon to me was to wash my incision every day. So I did wash it the first day home. That was really interesting, trying to take a shower because I was still really kind of groggy. So thankfully it happened. It was safe. Everybody's okay. I did have assistance from my family for that one, and yeah, it was. At first it was really scary trying to wash the incision because I just didn't want to touch it, and everything was numb. Everything is kind of still numb, but everything was really numb then, so I couldn't even really tell what I was touching, so that was interesting. But cleaning up, it felt great to be clean. When I was home from the hospital, I was like, yes, let's wash all the gunk. I had the Band-Aid goo everywhere, so it was nice to just wash that off. That happened the first full day home from the hospital, and then the other focus was obviously pain management. So I was on the heavy-duty pain medicine for, I want to say 10 days in total, from being in the hospital and at home as well. I also, one thing that I did in the first 48 hours home was eye drops in my right eye, because like I said, everything was really swollen and my eye was so dry.
It kind of looked like someone had punched her in the face.
It really does.
Really
We'll put a picture in here of what it looked like. So after the swelling went down, after it wasn't puffy anymore, it was majorly bruised. So everything underneath my eye and around my eye was a huge bruise. So it really did look like I had been punched in the face. And then also another thing that bruised was my wrist, from where I had an IV in my hand, and then the A line, the artery line, was in my wrist. And that whole area bruised so badly, and that lasted a solid 2.5 weeks, that massive bruise. So we have a picture of that as well. So between that and my face, it really did look like I had been in a fist fight. And I was like, whoa, because the bruises just kept getting darker and darker and darker. And let's also mention the fact that I bruise like a peach, at anything, something touches me and I bruise. So the fact that I had that really intense line going into my artery, my whole arm was black and blue and green and all those colors. Other than being foggy-headed, it was really difficult to keep thoughts. I would think of something, but then I couldn't retain the thought or have a full conversation. I wasn't super conversational for the first while, which was expected. But I didn't realize how much it was until I kept asking the same questions over and over again.
You were good to answer simple questions, but
Yes.
not necessarily to
I
carry
will
a
say
full
I'm
conversation.
grateful for how much my brain did work, because honestly it worked a lot better than I was expecting it to when I came home. I was able to answer simple questions. I was able to communicate what I needed or wanted. It wasn't well, but I was able to do it, and I'm grateful that I didn't have major memory loss. I guess I did have memory loss. I had like short-term memory loss where I couldn't remember what happened like 15 minutes ago, so then I would ask about it, and it was just that kind of thing. But I am grateful that I was able to function somewhat mentally, which was really nice. I struggled with spelling words and coming up with names for things. So I was able to write decently, but I couldn't remember how to spell like simple words. So and the reason I know that is because of my recovery journal. We can link that video if you missed it. I have been loving my recovery journal. I've used it every day. It's worked so great. But that's how I noticed that, was because I would be trying to write notes from that day, and I would be stumped on a pretty normal word, and I didn't know how to spell it. Another thing is with like names for things, like for, I think it was like day 6, I ate breakfast, like egg, sausage, toast, pretty simple, straightforward things, and I was trying to tell Abby what I had for breakfast that morning, and I was like, I had eggs, and then I couldn't remember the word sausage, so I was like that meat, meat that you eat
and
breakfast.
I was like, bacon? And she said no.
No, and it was like, in my head I knew what I was talking about, but I couldn't come up with the actual term for it, which was sausage. So it was that kind of thing that lasted about 2 weeks, I would say. Mm-hmm. But once I was off the heavy-duty medications and painkillers, it got a lot better. So I think it was more medicine-induced fog, more so than like my actual brain having problems. So praise the Lord that I didn't actually have problems that would last past the medication. The thing that I noticed towards the end of the first week and into the second week was I had a few spouts of post-surgery nausea. If you guys watched my I need brain surgery video, I talked about the fact that nausea was one of my first symptoms with these headaches that I was having. And while I was in the hospital, I did throw up post-surgery about 5 times. Which is a lot for 2.5 days. And that was with, like, I had like a nausea patch, and they were giving me nausea meds through my IV. And my body, like, its first gut response is nausea. Like, clear the stomach, let's throw up, we'll feel better. That's like what my body thinks. So I was expecting to have a lot more nausea than that, but I was able to be on nausea meds around the clock with the other pain meds that I was taking, and that helped immensely. So I believe I've only had 3 like nausea spouts episodes in the last 4 weeks, which for me is amazing, because I got to the point pre-surgery where I was having this nausea like 1 to 3 times a week. So to have it only 3 times in the last 4 weeks is amazing. I'm super grateful for that. But when I have had them, they've been quite difficult to deal with, because I'm unable to lay flat. I have to be on an incline or sitting up at all times to ensure the safety of the blood patch for the CSF leak that they fixed. So for the first 6 weeks, I have to be upright basically at all times. So because of that, it's been difficult to deal with the nausea, because for me, some of the best things that help is to like lay on my right side or lay down flat for my nausea, and
can't do either of those.
Haven't been able to do that. So it's been interesting to try to find other ways to deal with the nausea, but thankfully it hasn't been too much nausea, so yay! Moving into week 2, I had pressure pain in both sides of my head and behind my eyes. This was kind of around the same time as the nausea. I believe it's because I accidentally laid down a little bit too flat to deal with the nausea, and then I got a head rush, and then I was like, okay, not doing that again. And that usually when I have that head pressure, it's because at some point in the night I accidentally slipped down to be a little bit too flat, and then it causes the pressure pain in my head. But again, I'm super grateful that I haven't had that feeling as much as I did pre-surgery, because like I said, it was basically every week, a few times a week, I would have that head pressure. So I've definitely been trying to avoid doing things that cause head pressure. There's a lot of specific things that I'm not allowed to do right now. So I can't lift things basically at all. I'm not allowed to bend down or move my head a crazy amount. I'm not allowed to lay down flat, and I'm not allowed to exert myself, even in things like going up the stairs. So I've been on the first floor of our house for the last month, which has been interesting in itself. That's why we're not in our normal filming space right now, because we're not in the office, which is upstairs. Also, another thing to deal with the same blood patch. Basically, the last 4 weeks of my life have been being cautious for the blood patch, because we want to make sure that it heals, that it seals fully. Then I can start working to getting more to regular life, but we want to make sure, like, most important thing, that it does not pop or blow or anything, because then that would be a major problem. So coughing and sneezing have been another thing. I haven't really coughed at all, which has been, praise the Lord. I've been basically in the house the last 4 weeks because I don't want to go out, safety reasons, germs and all that. But sneezing has been very interesting because I believe that my allergies are going wild, even amidst being inside for the last few weeks. Yeah, I think it's like the Saharan dust mixed with like summertime in Florida. It's been rough. So sneezing has been, it's one of those things that could potentially be dangerous because it causes like a jolt and pressure in your head. So I have been required to sneeze with my mouth open, which I encourage all of you, next time that you have to sneeze, try doing it with your mouth open. It's really hard. So it's like trying to like chew gum and rub your head at the same time. Like it's kind of difficult and disgusting. I try not to think about it. But yeah, supposed to do it with my mouth open, and then obviously not supposed to cough really at all, same reasons. So that I've been working hard at trying to remember that whenever I have to sneeze, which thankfully hasn't been much either. As I got into week 2 and week 3, I started cleaning my incision every like 3 to 4 days, and I've noticed that my energy level has been very minimal. So I have to have a really good day where I feel really good to be able to shower, and then I'm exhausted. Like I feel like I just ran a marathon after washing my hair. I did have my 2-week post-op appointment at the end of week 2, and that appointment went really well. The doctor said that everything in the incision was looking really good. He said you look right on track where you should be, and he said keep doing what you're doing. So I was super excited about that. It meant my like cleaning was working. So yeah, so that went really well. Honestly, I have the best neurosurgeon ever, and the team that did my surgery was incredible. I'll talk more about that in the actual surgery story video, but I don't know who it was that like made this call. I think it might have been my neurosurgeon, but I don't know, where they actually kept a clump of hair that was in the middle of my incision. My incision goes around, it's like a backwards question mark, and instead of just shaving the whole like incision area, they actually kept the hair in the center that wasn't affected. So I really didn't lose all that much hair, and I'm so grateful for it, because I went into it expecting the worst. I was like, okay, I'm gonna lose half my head of hair and that's okay. And then I got home from surgery and I'm like, it was really only that track of hair that I lost. Which I was super grateful for. It has been interesting because that little chunk of hair is there to like figure out how to wash that, because I still can't feel anything in that area. It's completely numb because it's basically right over where the skull plate was put back in. So it feels weird, it's numb and hard, but I can't really feel it. I only feel it through my fingers. So that's been interesting, but I'm super grateful because that clump of hair is there, you can't really see a whole lot of the incision, and I'm so grateful for that. So I have a little bit that comes out here on the top, and then I don't know if you guys can see or not, but I have it that comes down right in front of my ear. I didn't know until after the surgery that it was going to come in front of my ear. I thought it was going to be behind, but it honestly has been I'm so grateful for the placement of it and how where it is on my head. So it's here, and then it comes back, and then forward, and then down in front of my ear.
Because clearly you have a lot of hair on your heads.
I know, I have so much hair. I have so much hair, and I'm so grateful that I was able to keep it. But it has been a bit of a struggle. And I know it's like a first world problem struggle, but because I have so much hair, and it's so thick, it's been like, it takes more work to clean the rest of it and still be gentle on my incision, if that makes sense. So, and I've had to obviously change the way that I clean my hair because of the incision and being careful with it and all that. So it's been a journey of learning how to take care of it, but I'm in a really happy place right now with how I'm able to clean it and how often. Towards the end of week 2, we did receive an amazing surprise in the mail. I wanted to say this because our YouTube friends sent us a pack of New York bagels, which my family loved, like full on loved.
They're so good.
They're so good.
So good.
Those bagels were sent to us by our lovely friends here on YouTube, Nina from Wrestling with Disney, Heather from The Disney Housewife, and Allie from Cinder Allie Loves Disney. And it was like an amazing surprise at our doorstep. We got New York bagels, and they're cool because they're like, you freeze them and then you can like pull them out so that they last longer. And unfortunately at that point I was struggling with my jaw a lot, as I still am now. So I wasn't able to like eat them like normal, like I would have loved to. But my family is amazing, and they like found a way to cut them so that they were small enough and easy enough for me to eat, so I could eat a little bit of them. But honestly, I'm just super, super blessed that they sent them, because the rest of my family deserves like the most treats ever for being so good about like helping me and being with me during this recovery. So they all like absolutely obsessing over the bagels. They were so good. And I just thought I wanted to point that out there, because it did bring like so much light to our week just to have those bagels there. So we went out to the store that day, and by we I mean not me, but they went out to the store that week and bought like 4 different kinds of cream cheese just for all the bagels, because it was really good. This was the first time towards the end of week 2 that I started noticing the jaw problems and having just a pulling and a swelling in my jaw. I'm able to talk a lot better now, as you can tell in this video, but I still am really struggling to eat normal foods, which I know will come with time. But I've been working on slowly exercising my jaw to open it a little bit bigger. And then I marked day 11 from being home. I took my first car ride out and about. It was so much fun. It was the first day of pumpkin spice at Starbucks, so I was like, okay, this is the day. So it was totally worth it to go get a pumpkin spice drink. And yeah, I was really proud of myself, honestly. I did nothing but ride in the car, but it was kind of a big deal to like get out, so that was really nice. And since then I've been taking a car ride out and about maybe like once a week.
Oh, fun.
Just to get out, and like I'll just ride along on some errands or whoever's going out, and then I'll just sit in the car. But yeah, it was really nice. The last thing that I noticed for week 2 was that my mind was finally feeling like crisp and clear again. And that was because, again, I was off the medication, so I didn't realize how foggy I felt until I didn't have that medication fog, and I was like, oh, I can think. Week 3 was full of changes. Both week 3 and 4 I actually felt like had a lot more changes of how I was feeling. High days, low days, lots of, like, I felt like I was on a roller coaster, which I still am, and I know I will be for a while, but it definitely started getting more dramatic, I guess, through weeks 3 and 4. So I did update my medication list in week 3. So I'll just read quickly the medications that I was on. So Mucinex and Benadryl I have been taking since I got home. Actually, I think I took Benadryl in the hospital too, which again, that'll be in the surgery story video, but I did take Benadryl. Again, my allergies. It's been really tough to balance allergy congestion and head pressure problems at the same time, because I'm not allowed to blow my nose, obviously, again, same reason as sneezing. So it's been rather interesting to kind of try to find that balance. Senna, which is a stool softener, the Flexeril, which is a muscle relaxer, and that has been super duper helpful with my jaw problems. And then Nausea Medication, the Zofran as needed, which Zofran I believe is the same one that I took pre-surgery as well, and it worked really well for me, so I've just been taking that as needed. And the surgeon prescribed that again for me. So I have 3 post-op appointments on the books. I had one at 2 weeks, I have one at 6 weeks, and then I have another one at 12 weeks. But depending on how good the 6-week one goes, I may or may not need to go back for the 12 week, so keep you posted on that. I would love to make these videos at the end of every month, so we'll see with the next one where that goes. But it did go good, the incision looked good. Half of my stitches are gone, but that was really good. I honestly, the doctor said that the incision looked really great, and I can kind of see in myself where the incision's at. I can actually pop up a picture of week 2, what my incision looked like, because I've just been kind of keeping an eye on it, as every time I like wash it and, you know, come out of the shower, then I can look at it and see what it looks like, but it's doing pretty good. The nerve pain began at the beginning of week 3, end of week 2. Really random, sporadic nerve pain in my head, which this I kind of anticipated. I figured it was coming, but it's kind of crazy sometimes how it feels. Like I will have really sharp, almost like a knife kind of feeling in the inside of my head, but I know that it's nerve pain because a lot of times it's not even near my incision area. It'll be like on the left side of my head or the top of my head or my neck, like really random places, but I'll have like stabbing or burning. A lot of times they come, they're pretty intense for like a few seconds, and then they go away. And I haven't really found anything that necessarily triggers them. It just kind of happens as my nerve paths are trying to find their way back to where they're supposed to be. That's been interesting. I remember one time in week 3, I went to, like, I accidentally touched my ear, like the top of my ear here. Didn't feel it at all in my ear, and then I actually felt it up here in the top left of my head. Like I felt the touch over here, and I was like, what just happened? So it's been a lot of that really interesting, weird nerve pain stuff, but thankfully I feel like it hasn't been too intense and it hasn't been too often. It just kind of comes and goes randomly. One day I marked that I had the feeling of wearing sunglasses on my head, but I wasn't wearing anything on my head. Like again, the nerve pain or nerve feelings. So it felt like I had something resting on my head, both sides of my head over my ears, like I was wearing sunglasses, and I wasn't. So that was really, really interesting. And then I also started having really weird heart rate symptoms again, which I had been told by my doctor that some of the pre-surgery symptoms most likely will come back with recovery, just as your body's trying to like realign itself. It's trying to find its pressure, inner pressure again, and that kind of stuff. And I have had multiple heart rate spikes since then. I think I've had 3 or 4 pretty massive ones, but my biggest one so far was on day 15. It was kind of scary actually, because I had a massive heart rate spike, and it is by far, in the 2 years that I've had these headaches, it's lasted the longest. It lasted about 4.5 hours, and my heart rate didn't drop below 105. So the lowest it went was 105, and then the highest it went up to like 145, 150. And we're talking about just doing normal life, like just sitting down or like walking from one chair to another, that kind of thing. And my heart was racing like that. So it felt like I was running or doing something like that. And those symptoms have come back multiple different times, unfortunately, throughout. And that's one of those symptoms that I still have no idea what it connects to, because I've had them throughout all times of day. I've had them in the middle of the night. And then they'll come and go at different times where my heart will just spike, and then it will eventually settle back down, but there's not really any connection that we can find. So that I've been monitoring really closely, and my Fitbit watch has been incredible for that because I'm able just to kind of pay attention to what's going on with my heart rate. And then once I am in one of those like heart rate spikes, I have the oxygen little finger thing as well. So just kind of monitoring what's going on. And then I've been writing down all the facts for those as it happens. But that was by far the biggest one that I've had. The same day as that massive heart rate spike, I also had what I'm calling an episode. It felt very similar to my pre-surgery episodes where I had the pressure inside my head, behind my eyes, temples. I had a lot of aching in my neck. I had nausea with it, and then I also had that rapid heart rate spike. So that day was very, very much like before surgery, and that's really the only day I think I've had that was that full on. I had like all the symptoms at once, and it was a little bit disheartening, I'm not gonna lie, to have a day like that where I knew exactly what it felt like because it felt like the episodes I'd had before. But like I said, we knew that that was par for the course. Like, we expected to have some of those symptoms come back. So I am really grateful in weeks 3 and 4 that I've felt a little bit more energy and a little bit more strength each day to where I'm able to try to do something every day or every other day. But it is definitely like I need to pace myself because some days I feel better than I necessarily am. So I really have to like pace myself and not overdoing it. So like for instance, one day my action might be taking a shower, or one day it might be like doing a planner spread. I've only done 2 of those since this, but it's been really wonderful. But again, I feel like that counts as an action step because it takes a lot of brain power and physical, moving with the stickers and everything. End of week 3, I started having some major sleep issues, and unfortunately those have lasted through the end of week 3, all of week 4, and then where I am now I'm still really struggling with it. I have to sleep at an angle, so I'm sleeping either sitting up or kind of like slightly reclining, but that's really causing a lot of stress on the rest of my body. So my neck, my shoulders, my back is like all messed up from having to sleep like that. It got to the point in week 4 where I like had this massive kink in my neck, and I like couldn't turn my head to the right because of it. So I did have an appointment with my chiropractor, and that has helped a lot just with relaxing the muscles and making the alignment in my neck correct. But it's also been interesting because I can't lay flat. So I can't lay flat for a chiropractic adjustment. So we've been having to do them sitting up, which is interesting. One of my biggest symptoms that I've had post-surgery has been the really weird tingling, aching, spasm type feelings in my limbs. So I did a little bit of research on my own, and the symptoms that I'm having are very similar to like restless leg syndrome. I don't know that I actually have restless leg syndrome, but that's kind of what it feels like. So it usually doesn't happen until I'm about to go to bed. Like literally I'll be climbing into bed and then my legs start going crazy. And it's a very weird feeling because it's not pain. They're not in pain, but they feel like they need to move. Sometimes they'll randomly like spaz. Or I just feel like I need to get up and walk around. So I've had that in both my legs and my arms for about 2 weeks now. And then oftentimes when I do get to sleep, I will sleep for like periods of 2 to 4 hours, and then my body will wake me up and I will wake up like fully awake. Like at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning, I will wake up and be like fully awake, and it's really difficult to go back to sleep. So that has been by far my biggest struggle, and I think the restless limb kind of feelings have been my biggest battle with what I'm feeling. I'm grateful that my pain has not been too high overall, but that the nerve, it's really I think my nerve systems that are off, because like I said, I have never experienced anything like this before, but then post-surgery, I think it's just my nerves are firing at different times and it's really difficult to sleep. I also have had some really, I've been trial and erroring some other natural things that I can do, both to help with sleep and then also to help with the tingling sensations. So I probably will talk about that a little bit more in the next update, but so far I'm seeing a little bit of progress with those, so that's been good. And then the final symptoms that I noticed in week 4, this past week, that I've noticed have been some pounding in my head. I believe it's either a pressure related thing or a heart rate related thing, but when I stand up from a sitting position or sit down too quickly or just make a movement too quickly, I will get a head rush and then some pounding in my head. So I just have really learned to like take things slowly and to get up slowly and that kind of thing. And then I've also noticed some really fun noises on the right side of my head. I have had clicking. I believe it's got something to do with the plate moving on the right side of my head because it's only in my right ear and it feels like it's a little bit above my right ear, but I have clicking when talking or sometimes without talking, like I'm just sitting there and then it'll start clicking. And I've had days where it's been completely consistent, like clicking all day long. It gets a little bit annoying, but it's not painful at all. I can just hear this inner click. It's almost like, you know, when you take your fingernail and you like do that kind of noise. It sounds like that, but it's inside my head. I've also noticed my mental processing time has gotten a little faster. I've actually made a few jokes this week, which I don't usually make jokes.
I'll have you know, you were really, really funny when you were doped up on medication. Your joke game was on point.
Really?
First week,
Nice to know.
very funny. I mean, you're always funny, but very funny.
I feel like the last week I've been more like on it with responding with jokes to people, and I'm like, I haven't thought this quickly in like over a year, like having that kind of quick response time, which I didn't notice how much that had fallen with having these headaches. I just was in a constant state of brain fog even when I didn't have a headache, that now I'm like, whoa, like I can come up with a witty response. I love it. So that's been really exciting to see this week. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. We did receive a really sweet edible arrangement from one of our longtime family friends, and it was really sweet to arrive in the mail. My family loved it. I could pop up a picture of it because it just made us so happy, and we didn't know it was coming, so it literally just arrived at the door. So I do have to cut it up really small, again, to eat it, but it was still totally just sent like joy through us, basically, and it's always really sweet to receive things like that. I think that's pretty much it to update on. Like I said, the sleep is my biggest struggle right now, and the nerve things that are going on. So I've been averaging very, very low sleep every night, which isn't great when your body's trying to heal itself. I know sleep is like the #1 thing. So I've been taking a lot of naps recently, and sleeping a lot, just sleeping a lot throughout the day, because I feel like even though I'm sleeping or like trying to sleep a lot at night, I'm only getting a few hours of sleep. I'm averaging like 2 to 3 hours awake time every night. So it's a little bit discouraging when you're in bed for like 12 hours, but you really only get like 8 hours of sleep, and it's poor quality sleep. So that's my biggest struggle right now. But like I said, I know this will pass as well. I'm definitely looking forward to when I can start lowering my head again and like laying more flat, because I know the rest of my body will be very happy about that. So right now we're in the sleep trenches, I suppose. But like I said, I have hope that it'll get better. And today is a really good day, which is why I decided to film this video today. So I'm super grateful to the Lord for any good days that I have, because I do have those really bad days and they can be discouraging, but when you have the good days, it just fills me with hope again. Like, I'm all the way hopeful again. It's been really good to film again. This was my event for the day, so...
Everyone please appreciate the great job I did on her hair.
Yes, Abby has been rocking my hair game. This has actually been the hairstyle of my recovery for most of it, has been braids. because it keeps it out of my way, and it also doesn't pull, because when I have my hair down, sometimes it pulls on the incision area. So yeah, that's been, yes, she's been great with the braid game. One more thing I did want to add in this video that I forgot to mention is I wanted to show you guys what my incision looks like now at the end of week 4, mainly because I want to be able to show you guys a progression, so I want to do this each month with where it's at. So I'm going to pop up a picture here of what my incision looks like at the end of week 4. And I also wanted to mention that my stubble, my hair growth, is coming back so quickly, and I'm so excited about that. But yeah, you probably can't, you can, I don't know if you can tell in the picture, but it's already at like maybe 1/3 of an inch. And I'm really excited about that. I have very thick hair. I have lots of hair. So the Lord blessed me with that. And so the stubble has been coming back. But anyways, I just wanted to show that to you guys before I sign off on this video. So back to the ending clip. That's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Like I said, I have more videos coming in the future. I've actually been making a list of video ideas that I'd like to do about recovery specifically. So if anyone is walking through the same situation that I am, I hope that this is helpful. I wanted to kind of be transparent with you guys so that you know what's going on, but you also know that if you are going through this as well, that we're in it together, and we'll get through it. So if this video was entertaining, helpful, then give it a thumbs up. I mean, I don't really want to say you liked it because it's just me talking about my medical problems, but if just give this video a thumbs up. It really helps support our channel, and I really appreciate it. And then if you'd like to stay updated with all of my future updates as well, then be sure to hit the notification bell down below and subscribe so that you'll see all the new videos that we post. And I hope that you guys are enjoying all the Disney content that we have on the channel right now. Our friends are amazing and have been helping with filming videos for us. And at this point, I don't know where the pre-filmed videos are, like if we still have them coming. I'm assuming that we do. Yes. So I hope that you guys are enjoying those videos as well, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye!
Bye!
Oh, let me open my jaw as wide as I can.